Welcome back, everybody, to the Meeple Marathon and our continued coverage of Unboxing Week. Today we have Etherfields from Awaken Realms. This is a highly anticipated game from them, and it's been very big on a lot of people's radar, and it's really hard to kind of pigeonhole this game into what kind of game it is. You could describe it as a campaign game, you could describe it as an exploration game, perchance, almost even like an action selection game maybe. But essentially you are diving into what I believe is your own dreams, and not someone else's, but you're kind of taking a deep dive into your dreams. You're wrestling with some of those alter realities and nightmares. And there's an evolving storyline somewhere there, and so there's a lot of stuff in here that we're not going to show off simply because of spoilers. Since this is a campaign game, there are a lot of decks of cards that say do not open until instructed to, so on and so forth. But we're going to take a look at some of the cards, the miniatures, the board, the instruction manual, everything else that we can. This one is, in fact, a standard version. It's not the Sundrop version. After placing my order, and then when the pledge manager officially closed, I immediately regretted my decision, because now that the Sundrop minis are coming out, it is... they look beautiful. But for anybody who wants to see what the minis look like without the Sundrop, then feel free to continue checking out this video. So here is the front of the box. This is the same picture that's been around since the Kickstarter. It's a very beautiful looking picture, very minuscule. There's just the simply name of the game right here, almost faded away, and there's this huge gaping hole. I have not really tried to put this up against a wall, because at least the walls in this room aren't white, so this would probably just stand out. But there you have it. It does almost appear like there's a giant hole in the box. So let's take a look at the back side. Ooh, this is quite a heavy box. By comparison's sake, it is roughly the same dimensions as the Tainted Grail box. For anybody familiar with that, but it stands about 1 inch taller. It's about 1 inch thicker, but it's the same 12 by 12 roughly size of the rest of their games so far. So again, another very artistic setup in the back. So it's not really explaining a whole lot, and again, it's kind of hard to tack down what type of game this is. But they're calling it a narrative cooperative game for 1 to 4 players, where a series of unique dreams awaits you to discover them, both tense exploration and tactical encounters. You're entering dream worlds. May be dark in there, but it certainly isn't gray. Lots of components here, lots of cards, some miniatures, and some opinions. So other than that, let's go ahead and dive into, see if we can flip this over without shaking everything to death. All right, so right off the bat we have our game manual. Okay, so some of you, especially if you've been following the campaign, have probably seen this manual. It is pretty heavy in terms of instructions. This game is not for the faint of heart. There are a lot of things to learn here. There is a big learning curve with the game. You can see there's a decent amount of pictures, and the rule book is decently colorful, but there's also a lot of text here. All right, so huge list of components here on the first page, and then a board description and game setup page. And so then we start with game overview on page 6, and it goes all the way to the back here to 18. So not too bad. 12 pages of rules, and then a rules summary on the back. Then we have our secret scripts. So this is more like a soft cover book, perhaps. And this is nothing but text, but we are not going to take time to look into this because this is, the book of secrets. And so we don't want to spoil anything. All right, so you have these 2 sheets here that I'm trying to remember. I believe this four-sided one here holds maybe the current section of the world map you're on, and these smaller ones, I can't really remember, but it's nice that they have provided these, especially for saving the game, because it gives you the ability to just pick up your kind of map that's been created in the same vein as Seventh Continent and Tainted Grail. You know, a lot of these card tiles are going to just be laid down and they'll create a map or a scene in front of you. And so there's going to be individual dream scenes, and then there's going to be a world map that you're kind of moving around outside of your dreams. So one of those two is going to hold on to the world maps, but either way, this gives you the ability to just pick up your game, throw it back in the box, and everything stays together. All right, so here is the board, and this is quite a large board. So let's just, let's wait until I can have the opportunity to pan out and we can take a closer look at that, because there's a lot of cool stuff on the board. All right, so we've got our set of cardboard here, and on this side is all of the masks. Now, I believe these masks, you get a few to pick from at the beginning of the game, and they kind of give you a unique ability to make it you know, somewhat asymmetrical play. And then you can unlock more masks throughout your campaign. You can switch masks at certain times, but again, the artwork here is just stunning. And then let's see, on the back side you have a numerous amount of I'm not really sure, clue tokens, clue tiles. We'll see once we unpunch these that these are all going to have various pictures on the back side, and what you're doing is looking for that picture, almost like a scavenger hunt per se, amongst, you know, similar to Seventh Continent where they were hiding numbers. Well, here they have really just kind of taken snippets of pictures within on their cards that you're traveling the world or the dream world in. And if you see that picture and you notice, ooh, you know, say I'm playing with this person, and you can match up that tile, then you would flip it over, and this number corresponds to an entry in the secret book. So we'll take a look at all the cardboard here in a second, but let's just kind of keep diving into the box here. All right, so we've got an envelope, two envelopes. This must be some shape or form the save, something to do with saving the game. Silica sheet, we don't need that. Okay, there's some foam in here set up probably to protect what appears to be all the cards, but then also a very nice you know, area with some divisions in here, some dividers, some recessed areas. So not really sure how they are planning on you storing away the game. You can see that it's imprinted with the Etherfields logo, but we'll figure that out. All right, so now that the game's been shipped, we probably don't need those anymore. And here you have a ton of cards. You've got standard size cards. You've got what must be dividers, because they sit taller than the rest. Here's some dividers for the large cards. And then you've got, you know, ones like these. These are going to be what create kind of your world map here. So if you take a look at this is a forest scene. It's divided up into 4 areas, and there's, you know, different things you can do. All these, check the yellow altar, assault 6, hurry, hurry, something wicked this way comes. And say, for example, you might have one of those triangular symbols with this kind of fountain looking statue on it. When you pulled out this card and you recognize that, you might say, oh my goodness, you know, I've got that symbol. And let's read a section in the secret book. So these are all the location tiles. These are all the cards. Let's kind of keep diving, and we might come back to those here in a second. So, whole bunch of clear plastic markers here. These are remind me very much of viticulture, but a little bit bigger, but they kind of have one flat side and then curved on the other side. And we have the same thing in red. Okay. And we have the same thing in white. All right, several baggies here to do some additional storage. We have some blue crystals. We have some, I believe these are standees, probably for the masks. Let's just pull one out, yeah. So I would say that's probably a standee to hold up your mask. I don't know why you really feel the need to stand it up in the air, but they provided those. Here are 2 dice with unique symbols on them, arrows, dots, pips. Pretty sure these are how you control the enemy in the game. And, you know, this isn't a dungeon crawler. There's not going to be a ton of minions running around the board. But for the times you do need to control the enemy on the board. So here's some other tokens in red, yellow, and green. And that looks to be all the tokens. So let's take a look now while we're here at some of the miniatures. So let's take a look at these first here. All right, trying to stay somewhat in order here. This, I believe, is the first player token. So you can see it's got several faces on it, several of what I believe is some of the enemies in the game. Maybe that's the Thorn Knight. I believe that's one of the boss villains that's going to come in the expansions, but neat little first player token. Next to it here, I am honestly not sure what this is. There's some hands all clasping themselves and a face or a face mask you can see right there. So again, I'm not really sure what this is set up for. Let's see if I can get some more light on this here. All right. There's the penguin, the business penguin, which everybody's a big fan of. I'm honestly not sure what purpose he serves, but he's just kind of fun. A lot of people are raving about the business penguin. And then here we have our starting 4 characters. And each one of these is unique in their own way. This person has a wing for an arm. I believe they are the Dreamer. I believe they're called the Dreamer. And then we've got the Specialist, I believe his name is. So this guy's on stilts here. Older looking balding gentleman there. Pop that back in. This is definitely the warrior. That might not be the proper name, but you know, looks like he's straight out of Sparta and ready to fight. And then we have the Gambler. I believe her term is the Gambler. I'm not really sure what the significance of the stuff coming out of her dress is. It almost looks like feathers, but her alternate sculpt here is pretty cool. We'll see that in a second. So then the rest of these just represent minions, and they're just meant to be nondescript. So you're going to be pulling them out at various locations, and similar to if you've been watching the channel, Direwild had just 4 miniatures that were not unique in any way, shape, or form. You put a unique color base on them, and those represented the minions, which were unique on the cards that you used to activate them. So I'm pretty sure that's who these guys are. Again, they're just meant to be kind of placeholders for the various different types of minions that you might encounter in the game. Now you can, if you wanted to, purchase similar to the Monsters of Avalon. You could have purchased the set of miniatures that is completely cosmetic that would represent all of those minions and bosses in a miniature form, in a unique miniature form. I guess if you did own that, then these guys would probably become obsolete. Not really sure what would happen with these smaller guys here. last but not least is this guy. So there's kind of 4 of each style. These are like half bird, half men figures. Each one is a unique sculpt. Then there are these kind of witch doctor, I don't know what you want to call them, but these guys are kind of creepy. Half of them are wearing hats. This guy's got like a gear on his back, shovel, wrench in his hand. He's got that mask on sideways. This guy, I believe, was the one that they just had in the Kickstarter and the demo copy. So a lot of people have seen this guy. And at first it was just going to be 4 of this guy. But then stretch goals unlocked additional sculpts and a whole nother set in additional sculpts. So the guy with the lantern. Then there's this guy with this super creepy plague mask with feathers. He's holding on to what appears to be a giant fish hook and a breathing apparatus coming out of his back. So it's almost like a plague mask / gas mask. And then last but not least, in this upper tray, this almost looks like somebody standing on somebody's shoulders, but maybe not really. There's like a zipper going up the front. So it's almost like they're coming out of someone's extra coat. And it's like a wolf head. Again, just very strange in general. All right, so that is the initial tray. Basically your starting characters, your smaller minor minions. And then we've got the big boss here. We'll take a look at her last. And so these are the alternate sculpts for your dreamers, and you have to unlock these sculpts. So I'm assuming you've made a certain amount of progression in the game, because these are all definitely like beefed up sculpts here. For example, the warrior here has like super mech armor on now and is much more intimidating than he was before. Or our gambler here, who has this is one of my favorite sculpts, and I think a lot of people like this one. It's like this almost stack of books, I guess you could say, or cards that she's like manipulating to float next to her and stand on. So that's the gambler alternate sculpt. And this is the dreamer, the one who earlier had kind of a wing for an arm, now has just some feathers on one elbow, and appears to be blind with a halo. And last but not least, probably the biggest one, is the specialist, who has turned his stilts into this fantastic walking machine with a lantern and wings and a whole bunch of other stuff. So pretty cool. And then finally, you go back in there. We need to put you in first for you to fit, maybe. Is kind of the main antagonist, I guess you could say. I'm not really sure what her role is, but this is a huge miniature. You can see that I can like cup both hands around it here. This is easily one of the, if not the biggest miniature I own personally. There's like this tree with this fantastic, I don't know what kind of creature that is. It's made up of like several different types of animals here. It's not really a deer or an antelope. You know, it's almost got like a human skull here on the top, but no eyes. This lady's just chilling in this hammock here. So again, a really cool sculpt. This thing is massive. You know, it sits probably easily 6 to 8 inches high. So there you go. Takes up a good chunk of the bottom of this box. All right, so let's push this box aside here and take a closer look at a few of the cards. Actually, let's take a look at the board first. Then we'll zoom in closer for some of the cards and some of the cardboard. Okay, so here is the board. I actually have it sideways. The text on the board, which is really only a few of these letters and number combinations here would make one think in these numbers here that it's meant to be turned vertical. But after playing with the Dire board, I can tell you that that is tough, reaching from all the way back down here all the way up to here while you're playing the game. So I think that this could be played kind of from the side. I believe this area up here is where you're going to be placing the kind of tiles that represent the dreamland you're in. I'm not quite sure what this big open space is for here, but you know, there's a really awesome graphic of one of these haunting ladies in the background here. Then you have various spaces which must contain very specific decks, I'm sure, right along here. And then again, same thing with here. You know, there's 3 light bulbs here, there's nothing in here, and then there's this card right here. Then there's a time track. I'm assuming this is going to track your turns in some way, shape, or form. And then down here, you have what is very similar to up here, but in a smaller sense. But the same square tiles and the same A1, A2. You know, A2 is up here, so B2, B2. But I'm thinking this is the world map area and this is your dream world area. So more focused, more zoomed out, and then 2 more spots for cards over here. So that is the game board. Gives you a lot of room to lay just about all of your cards from the game on. And it does give you a space for everything. So, and I believe why they did that is because they may say, okay, we definitely want you to put a card down on A2 and A3, and maybe could have put a card down on B3 upside down and B2 upside down. And so they've kind of predetermined where they want you to start, and you kind of already know the edges. I don't really know what the relevance of that is, but it's not like Seventh Continent or Tainted Grail where you just can start going off in any direction. It's always going to be confined onto the board here, which is kind of nice because sometimes those games get tough to deal with as much as they can just go off the board or off your table. So here is the board for Etherfields. Okay, so this is the kind of picture clue tiles that I was referring to earlier. This is the front side. So as you can see, this means nothing to us at the moment. You know, I can recognize some of the things in these pictures, like there's a ring. But, you know, other than that, I have no, you know, that looks like a road. Those look like some vents. That's an underwater or something. Some lily pads. I have no context, just basketball, of what these go to. And I'm assuming, again, if you flip them over on the back side here, that there's a certain set for each player character, and then probably just, you know, some generic ones. So, you know, these would be the generic ones, and then up here, somewhere around there, are specific sets per character. But again, you know, you're going to have to look for these, or like this farmhouse there, look for these within the cards, and then obviously when you find them, you read a specific secret. So next up, we have 2 sets of masks. So again, these don't just by themselves. Okay, haste. I'm trying to pick one that I think is one of the initial ones, so I'm not spoiling anything. I believe Ghost is one. What did I do with the instruction manual here? Let's see if it tells me which ones to choose. 14 masks and mask stands. Game setup, prepare the board, place some notes, or decoration. Okay, so I could not find where in the rule book it says if any of these are like initial starting masks that you can choose from. So I'm going to just punch one out here. And if you don't want to know what's on the back side, avert your eyes. But I believe you might be able to look and see before you choose them. I'm not really sure, but this one, just for example, is the Ghost, and so this is going to give you one unique power that you can use once per turn. So on the back side, you can see it reads, once per turn, spend a blue crystal to move one space through a wall, or ignore one damage, I guess, during the dreamscape phase. So again, that's just a unique item. I'm not gonna look at the rest for fear of spoiler reasons. It is kind of creepy because all of them have eye holes in the back. But there you go. So that was that set, and here was the other set. Okay, and then everything else is mostly player boards with some tokens. So you can see here that you have unique player boards. Actually, these are for the advanced characters, because you can see like the specialist here has his chair thing, but then there's also these appear to be tokens for some of the nemesis, bad guys, whatever you want to call it. So like the Scarecrow, the Wolfling, the Box Knight. I believe these are all people that you could have actual miniatures for if you so choose. Let's take a look at the player boards here, because I believe those are just, yeah, pretty much single-sided. But the player boards, I believe, are double-sided. So here's the front. This gives you a place to collect your white and your red, your influence deck, your influence discard, and your active progress cards. And then on the back, no, it's just a picture. Okay, so that makes things pretty easy. So there you can see the specialist and the tough guy. And here are the other two upgraded heroes, the free spirit and the gambler. There's the cool stack of cards that she's manipulating in the background. And then we have, there's also some keys on this one. You can see, and here are some larger of the, the enemies. Bigger tokens take up more space, I guess. Then we've got the specialist and the tough guy, they're standard ones. And then we have several different tokens: pink, purple eyeballs, +1 range, +2 seal. But really there's not a whole ton of tokens in this game. It may seem like one of those games where there's just tokens for days. But other than that one sheet with all the secret tokens on it, most of the rest of these are these, the big masks and these big player boards. And stuff that I'm sure will just pop up at specific times. But this doesn't seem like a game that's going to be super token heavy. I think it's going to be very card heavy. So with that being said, let's take a look at some of the cards. Okay, so just a general announcement here. I'm going to show off what appears to be kind of the starting decks for each player. And not their advanced form, but their basic form here. And then I've got a few of the other types of cards, but not all of them. So I'll let you know when I'm going to be showing those. And if at any point in time you want to turn away because you want things to be spoiler free, I perfectly understand. But these are just some of the player aid cards, letting you know a few general rules. And then on the back side here, how to gain gems, remove morphlings, things like that. So there's 4 of these in the deck, pretty straightforward. All right, so let's take a look at the tough guy first here. So again, I believe this is basically his starting deck. So I don't think any cards in here are ones that he's going to upgrade to. So we have Taunt here. If an entity inflicts you, stun that entity until the end of this turn. So you can use this as like a 2 yellow or a 1 red, or you can prep it to have this ability down here. I'm not quite sure what the lightning bolt with the 1 below it means. or what the 2 means. Okay, progress, self-improving tools. Again, we're just going to kind of take a brief look at these. If nothing else, if you just want to look at the artwork, not pay too much attention to the words. Seal this card to prevent all you just suffered. Okay, I believe sealing it away makes it unusable until you're done with that dreamscape. Gain damage equal to the number of, okay, plus the time. Very interesting. I have read through the rulebook briefly, but not enough to tell you what all of this stuff means. Inner light. Okay, place 1 token in any space. It is active until the end of this turn, or seal this card to discard 1 morphing. Okay. Optimization. Slap. Another slap. Effort. Okay, there's a couple efforts. Thoughtful moment. That's kind of creepy looking. Hesitation. Seal this card to gain 3, 3, or 3. Hurry, hurry. Shining. Oh, look, a penny. Okay. And so many possibilities. So this is a pretty generic card, I guess. It's just giving you 1 of any of the 3. All right, so that was the tough guy. Let's see how many of those cards are very similar to some of these other guys. So here is the specialist. So let's see, each of them have a special power on the back too. So for example, this says, as long as this card is on top of your deck, you can perform the action below. Yeah, and they all appear to be this way. So I guess, yeah, as you add more cards, they may not be available on top, but at least starting off, you always have the option to, when you suffer, I'm assuming that's damage during the dreamscape phase, discard this card and prevent 1. Okay, but then you're going through your deck faster. Let's see what the specialist says. Discard this card and unflip 1 card of any dreamer within range. And I believe when you flip a card over, it's kind of inactivated, but it's taking up a slot. So there's the pocket ladder. Place a ladder, use your personal token in your space, enter the dark room. Ooh, tile next to the board and place your dreamer in any space there. Okay, I wonder if that's like a hideout. Place this card for 4, builder, assistant. So all of these so far are very different from the tough guy cards. Mechanical solution, steam bomb, 1 with shadows. You can only use this in night spaces, I guess. Oh, there's inner lights. We've seen that one before. Okay, we've seen optimization. We've seen a couple slaps. We've seen a couple efforts. Thoughtful moment. Okay, so a good number of these are all identical. Hurry, hurry. Shining. And so many possibilities. Okay, so it's safe to assume that these other ones are going to be similar. So let's first take a look at the back. The Gambler. Discard this card and re-roll any one of your rolls. Okay. Stroke of Luck. That's a creepy fish. If you spend any intent during the current action, draw 1 card and discard it. If the intent color of the drawn card matches, add its intent value to the current action. Ooh. All right, Gambling. Bloviator. Blah, blah, blah. Spare Mask. Discard your active mask to restore another of your masks. Okay. It shoots occasionally. And then 1 with the shadows, inner light, optimization. We've seen all of these before. Yep. Okay. So 1 more to go here. And this is the Free Spirit. Discard this card and spend any number of spirit tokens to gain 1, 1, or 1 per spirit token spent. All right, so she has Spirit. Pathfinder. You can move diagonally through the current during the current move action, then roll the luck die. Flip this card if you get the X. Okay. Flashback. World Shaper. Look at this. Place your personal token in any space of the dreamscape. Until the end of this turn, treat this token as one of the icons below. Wow. That's a lot of icons. Secret Door. And then one with shadows. And this should be, yep, all the cards that we are now somewhat familiar with. Okay. So that was all of the, what I'm assuming is the basic starting decks for each of the 4 heroes. Now, I have some other types of cards here with me, and I'm going to go through them progressively in what I believe to be spoiler-free order. I don't think there's much spoilerishness in the turn order cards or the item cards. These 3 right here may be considered spoilers, so if you want to turn away at that point, feel free. And after this, we will open up the free surprise box on camera. So if you are wanting to know what that is, feel free to join us at the end of this video. And if you don't, then simply turn off the video. I'll give you plenty of warning. But here's what the turn order deck looks like. You can see that it's almost like a deck of cards with the suits at the top. But morphing, basic effect, roll, discard this turn, loot, but roll, basic effect, so it's changing up all of these, the order of things. Ooh, roll, special effect, basic effect, morphing, roll. So each one of these is unique, and this controls the AI. So these cards, along with some random die rolls, is how you, and I believe you're gonna know, you're gonna be sitting with the cards like this, so you'll know how the enemy is going to activate during your turn. All right, here are just a few item cards. These just happen to be in with some of these other decks, so I pulled them out. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more in the game, but these are just to give you a few examples. So, the Book of the Birds. Spring Perfumes. Again, these are items that you can gain and make use of in some way or another. Little Helpers. Makes me think of the Indian in the cupboard. Strategic Plan. And Journal. Okay. All right, so at this point, I'm not really sure what's on some of these other cards, so there may be some spoilers abound. If you want to turn away, I'll make it very obvious when we're going to be opening up the super secret surprise box. So these are influence cards. Insight. You may take a 5-second peek at any one of the secret cards of the current dream without resolving it. That's interesting. Help. One dreamer may use one of your active progress cards during their current activation. Rapid progression. Wait. Just leave me alone. Stun one entity. It's just a delusion. I run to live. Who lives here? There's the penguin. The business penguin. Why would I need this? Little tiny guitar. Deja vu. So these all appear to be beneficial to you. Blind Man's Bluff. Blind Man's Bluff. So again, I'm not really sure what those are used for, but just to kind of show off some art, or maybe you do know what they're used for and you didn't mind seeing a few. These are fate cards. If each dreamer steals one card, relocate the team to the chosen location of this dream world map tile, or you may reshuffle the fate deck. Omnipresent Mist. The Dark Cubbyhole. Ooh, need a lift. Vanishing Point. Strange Hood. Caution Repairs. Some of this art is just very interesting. Darkness. And Little Shop on the Corner. Alright, and last but not least, we have some flaw cards. This kind of makes me think of Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle Earth, where everybody kind of had one flaw that they had in their deck the whole time. Jelly Legs. And Numbing Fear. Okay, so just a few examples there. All right. At this point, we are going to take a look at the Super Surprise box. Most of everything that's left in the Etherfields box is cards, and I don't want to spoil anything for you because I'm not sure which decks to open quite yet, so we're just going to leave those be. We've looked at the miniatures, we've looked at the cardboard, we've looked at the rulebook. So, this is the surprise box. I'm going to push it out now, so if you don't even want to see what it's about, turn the video off now. But most of you probably have a general idea of what at least is in here, or that the fact that it's regarding the ISS Vanguard. This is supposedly Awaken Realms' next project that they're going to launch on their own crowdfunding site, GameFound, which is currently being used as, kind of a pledge manager, post Kickstarter pledge manager now, and so they're going the extra step and turning it into essentially a Kickstarter competitor. But anyways, we got something similar to this in Tainted Grail, and then their next project ended up being Nemesis Lockdown. So take it for what you will, but let's just go ahead and take a look at what's in here. What I'd really love to see in one of these surprise boxes is like a 10% off coupon for any Awaken Realms product. Ooh, okay. There is what appears to be dog tags in here. This is kind of fun. Kids are gonna fight over this. I guarantee it. Okay. So you have your ISS Vanguard crew member, EX Fortitude Fortitudine Veritas. Fortitudine Veritas. Again, I wish this was like 10% off ISS Vanguard coupon. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. We've got a Welcome to Etherfields. Here's a list of the things added from stretch goals to first wave. Okay, 4 Lucid Mode Dreamer models, 80 Lucid Mode Dreamer influence cards, and the Dreamer boards. Okay, so I was calling them advanced heroes. They are called Lucid Mode Dreamers. And then they've added also the 3 new human shapeshifter poses, a team marker. Okay, that's interesting. 4 additional creature shapeshifters, the penguin miniature. Oh, so it's got its own cards, first player marker, double layer tray with a better component management system. All right. Custom markers, the acrylics, 17 dividers, 3 extra masks, 6 shining gems, and a partridge in a pear tree. 100 plus more tokens. New upgraded bases for most of the models. Okay. And second wave will include the Harpy campaign, the She-Wolf campaign, the Riddler expansion, the Winged Cat, and some more. All in all, creating Etherfields was a hell of a ride, but now, when the game is complete, we could not be more proud. Thank you so much for your support. Without you, creating this amazing adventure would not be possible. We really hope you enjoy your stay in the esoteric Etherfields. Okay. All right, so then we have this letter here. Open here. Maybe this is my coupon. Okay. We went on this journey together. First, your feedback. I'm not going to read all of this out loud. You can pause the screen if you really want to read it. I'm just going to kind of skim over it. Even after the campaign ended, we kept improving not only the gameplay and story, but also other aspects of the game. Some of the expansions from the stretch goals were added to the first wave. as it made much more sense that way. But we have also added the following extra elements on top of all stretch goals unlocked during the campaign just to make a better game experience. Okay, whole new secret scripts book, ton of extra cards, a bigger improved board, new upgraded bases, flying cat companion, and 3 new extra masks. There's still a second wave coming. Okay, and it just kind of lets you know how to deal with bent or broken, damaged stuff, missing elements, things like that. They have pretty good customer support. And last but not least, this is the book that we were expecting here. This appears to be kind of an ISS Vanguard art book. All right, so about ISS Vanguard. Explore the stars. This appears to be just kind of one big advertisement. Gearing up, the journey begins. Okay, a little comic book. Tell you what we did, introduction. I believe I've seen this comic book before. I believe it's on the kind of Kickstarter preview page. So yeah, I may come back and read this at some point, but okay, so then it's talking about how they're gonna have a binder in this game. Really, it's just kind of one big deep dive advertisement into ISS Vanguard. A little self-serving, but that's okay. Hand your crew back to that binder. They're really pushing the binder. They want you to know that your game is going to come with a binder. Some decent artwork, so I may actually pop this back out. There's that binder again. I'm not really sure what to call it now. It's not a Kickstarter. But the crowdfunding of ISS Vanguard hits the internet. I may pull this back out and look through this and the one that we got in Tinted Grail, just to remind myself that it comes with a binder. All right, so that was the super secret book. There's Marson. All right, so there you go. Super secret surprise box in all its glory. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to be part of more Etherfields content to come on the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.